Hey guys, today is Thursday and welcome to the second episode under the series Thursdays with God. I wanted to find a way to include mindfulness, spirituality, and conversations about a relationship with God. And I was like, how do you have that conversation with an imaginary audience, you guys, And one thing that's been going through my mind a lot this year is how do I do things that I do on a regular basis or things that I want to introduce into my daily life with purpose. So how do we have a relationship with ourselves and with God with purpose, authenticity, So my main focus of this episode is to give you a background of where I'm coming from personally, purposely, and spiritually. So for me this year, I'm trying to redefine what a new year means for me, new year, new me, for my life, for consistency, how I measure consistency, how I measure results, how I show up, in areas that I'm working to improve. And I want to grow in a way that feels real to me, a way that doesn't feel like, I'm trying to meet the standard or meet this goal. Like, what feels real to me, a way that doesn't deplete me or my energy, and a way that reflects amazing results that I am proud of. There was a conversation I had with a friend of mine. We were supposed to record a podcast. We had this conversation last month, February, and we're talking about how we live in a world where we know God is a 24/7 service. It's like a drive-through that works throughout the day, throughout the week, throughout the year. But it's so interesting how we approach our relationship with Him like a convenience store. It's like that little store at Puma filling station where you can it's open 24 hours a day, of course, but you go there when it's convenient for you, And it reminds me of a quote by Robin Sharma, the one who wrote The Monk Who Sold His Ferrari. He was like, you can't keep running and running in life without fueling up. Like a car, at some point, you need to gas up, And since that conversation and, that quote has been on my mind, like, you don't wait for your car to be out of fuel for you to go fuel it. You see, the red light, you see the indicator to say, I need to fuel up, and you have to do that consistently. You don't wait until you are completely depleted, because then you find yourself at zero, and it's so hard to build yourself up from 0 to 100, and I've been on this journey of spirituality, of my relationship with God, my whole life, but it's been one of those things. It starts, it stops, it starts, it stops. I'm not perfect like the 8 billion people who live on this earth. But 2025 has been a year where I've said, how can we do things with purpose? This time with purpose. I believe God, spirit, source, whatever you want to call it, but let's stick to God for now, I believe God wants us to have an intentional, everyday relationship with Him. He wants us to be in relationship with Him to a point where it feels like that friend who you can call anytime, you can text. We all have that friend, like, I had this crazy day, this thing happened to me, and you talk about it, you laugh, they empathize with you, they, create a safe space for you, and I don't think any of us like it when we have somebody we love and care about, but they only come to us when it's convenient for them. You can imagine how that feels for you. And then if you can put yourself in the shoes of God, like, imagine how He feels. Like, we only show up when we want something, when it's convenient for us, We live in a world where I believe we've got a very wrong idea of who God is. You know, most of what we know as God is not what God is not who God is. You know, it's like any parent who has a child and loves the child. They wouldn't condemn them to a life of suffering. They wouldn't want you to feel shameful and not able to show up and talk about what you're going through. You know, like, this is what I'm going through, this is what I'm struggling with. And I believe in my hearts of hearts to say that's the kind of relationship that God wants us to have with Him. A one-on-one relationship where we don't feel ashamed, where we don't feel condemned. And I've come to learn there's a difference between conviction and condemnation. And if God is this parent who loves us, who wants the best of us, this being, this friend who wants to walk life with us, you know, why not get to know Him more? Why not get to have this relationship with Him that's purposeful, that's intentional, you know? Because at the end of the day, love is the goal. God is love. God is purity, and all good things flow from Him, you know? And we love because God loved us first, you know? Our existence is the evidence of love. And there's this quote that Madeleine Grace likes to say. She says, love is the true evidence of our obedience to God, because in everything that Jesus taught, He taught love. And the amazing thing about Jesus is that He managed to summarize what the law taught to love at the end of the day.